I am Reverend Derek Moody. We're getting ready to speak with Paul ROESSLER. He's been on the show, I think, 2 or 3 times before. He runs a studio in California, down in LA, called Kitten Robot. I've recorded there. Lots and lots of people have recorded there over the years, including some surprisingly big names that I wasn't aware of until after I'd been there. I will say that Paul is a favorite of mine as far as underground music and above ground music. He played keyboards for 45 Grave for years. I used to watch them on the New Wave Theater TV show back in the day, in the early 80s at night. He was with the Nina Hagen Band for a decade. He was doing stuff for so many bands. And we're going to go ahead and plug the phones in because we do have Paul on the phone. Sister Tracy's telling me. So we're going to plug Paul in right now and introduce him properly on the air. Hey, Paul, are you there, sir?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. How's it going, man?
It's going good.
Yeah, this is like your 3rd time on the Church of Rock, I believe.
3rd?
I think so.
Maybe.
I think you were on like years ago with my ex-co-host Chris St. Christopher, and then you were on once with me and Tracy, I believe.
Yes, he was
on
once with us.
I'm a retread.
Are you at the studio tonight?
I am.
Yeah, it's a studio so legendary, isn't it, Tracy?
It is. I think Paul lives there. No, I mean, seriously, he's always working.
I do live here, actually.
He literally does live there. Yeah.
Buddy's been here. He's seen the whole spread.
Yeah, it's a great studio. It just got a really good energy about it, and lots of very, very talented artists come through the hallways of that place. So.
It's really great to hear that because, I was a keyboard player and I was a songwriter and played in bands, and now I've got this new thing. And for a while, I didn't really think of it as art exactly, or it didn't feel like it was mine. But now I feel like I'm doing something that really matters,
Oh, you definitely are.
Yeah, like maybe more than just like playing keyboards in like before, I sort of to play keyboards in some big band seemed like the biggest thing in the world, when you're young. But this feels really cool because we've got a whole community of people that come through here, and I get to work with all these people. It's just turned into this really great thing.
And dude, anybody who can work with 3, 4, 5, 6 musicians all at the same time and try to make them all happy about the way things sound, man, you are a saint in my book when it comes to that. And you really do. I'm not just, blowing smoke. You do a fantastic job at that. Man. So
how do I do that?
I don't know.
It's kind of like, guys, this is like the funnest thing ever. And how could we be anything but just having really good time? And then the flip side of it is that there's kind of an attitude of look, nobody has time for nonsense.
Right. And
the more time we spend making music, the better it's going to be, and the more time we spend bickering and getting silly, the less good it's going to be.
Well, and you've been around and you've done a lot, and I think those guys that are the people, guys, girls that come in there know that, and they are, I think, a little more likely to take your word when you say good job. Really, I think they know you're honest enough to say, hey, lousy job, let's do that again.
Yeah, did I ever say that? Ever?
Not in so many words, but yeah.
That's funny, man. So Paul, do you consider?
Yes,
I know that we're talking now about your recording career versus like your musical career, and towards this part of your life, I think you spend more time recording than you do playing in bands. Would you say that's something that gets you? Obviously, it seems like it's answered itself. That's something that's actually made you much happier these days. Is the actual recording part?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. That it's funny because you said your recording versus your music, and I finally, the big shift for me is I finally see it all as one thing.
I see.
And if you play in a symphony orchestra, the greatest thing you could be is the lead violin chair or the solo pianist, unless you're the conductor. The conductor is even better, and I kind of feel like I'm a bit sort of like the conductor in a way. I feel like I got my hands on everybody's parts, and So yeah, that was a shift for me. And I remember, I used to tour, and touring was really great at first. It's great to see like Europe and places you never have been and all the little cities across America. But I was really not that happy touring, to
Yeah.
be honest, because you spend all your time driving or sitting in a hotel, and there's not a lot of music making, and a lot of times the music making is kind of the same set every night. So I remember thinking like, well, when was I the happiest of all the time making? When is my happiest time making music? And it was sitting at home making little 4 tracks, in my little home studio.
Yeah.
So really, this is without, not that I knew this, but this is kind of what I always wanted.
And you're still currently passionate and performing with the Jeton Damone Quartet, correct?
I'm playing with the Jeton Damone Quartet. We just got done with Josie Cotton rehearsal. I'm in Josie Cotton's band, and she's got a whole bunch of new stuff that's coming out right now that I produced and engineered and mixed. And then I play with Harry Cloud also. So I play with a couple different people, but I don't know. I'm just not that focused on live stuff, and I still write music, but not as much. I mean, it's down to like a couple songs a year, but they're good ones at least, instead of like 20 of them and then 18 of them are bad. Now it's like 2 or 3, but I'm like happy with them. So.
Well, everything you do, I've pretty much become a fan of. And it's weird because back in the early 80s, I was listening to an album called Nun Sex Monk Rock by Nina Hagen Band. And I considered it one of the most unique and trippy and different records I had ever heard in my life. And then come to find out later that you were instrumental in writing songs on that and performing on that. And I was like, what a small world, man, that we ended up in the studio together. And that really still is one of the most unique records I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, you didn't know I was on that?
I didn't know no, man. It's really bizarre. But like in the middle of hanging out with you, I started realizing putting 2 and 2 together, thinking, wow, this guy was the music I was listening to, So
yeah, after the Screamers broke up, she came to LA and she wanted to put together an American band because she fired her German band, or they had broken up. And I was kind of the first. Her husband Ferdinand was playing guitar, but I was kind of the first American that she went on the Rodney Bingenheimer show, and she said, I'm looking for a guy named Paul Screamer. And all these people called me up and said, Nina Huggins on the radio looking for you.
Haha, that's funny. She wanted that sound you had, man,
Well, I think I just had a friend that she hung out with, and he had told her, "You got to get him. He's the guy. He's the guy." And I don't think I've ever gotten an audition in my life. It's always like, if I go audition for people, I'm not going to get it. But if they've already made up their mind before I go in, then I'm cool.
Yeah, right. Did you get to perform often with 45 Grave or anybody else often on the New Wave Theater TV show?
I'm trying to remember if I know I played New Wave Theater. I might have done it with Geza X and the Mommy Men. I can't remember if I was on the 45 Grave one.
Trippy.
Jeez, it's reaching the point where you're asking questions about things 40 years ago.
Yeah, it gets blurry.
Trifle.
Were you friends with Peter Ivers, the old host of that show?
Like I said, I went on the show. I don't know that we ever. I mean, I think he was kind of around. I think I saw him at clubs, but I don't know that we really had. I think he came up to me and talked to me a few times. He was nice, as I recall.
Interesting. I was wondering, I know since we have been to your studio more than once, and it seems like you're always busy, I noticed there's a table when you first walk in your studio with a lot of the current stuff you've had, that has come out on CD or vinyl. Who are some of the bands you've been recently recording at Kitten Robot? What's happening like right now in your life as far as recording?
Oh, wow. All right. Well, there's a new band that they just released their record. They had their record release party last night, and I went down there. And this is really an incredible band. They're called Prissy Whip.
Okay.
But they're like really, really amazingly noisy and really bizarre. So they might be a little bit hard for some people to swallow. But I think I was really proud of that record. I just finished them, and Josie Cotton, we've put out a single, and then she had an unreleased 80s album, and we took the old 24-track tapes and we bounced them to digital, and we just mixed that, and that's about to come out. There's a new Harry Cloud record that's coming out called The Pig and the Machine. Oh, Tombstones in Their Eyes just put out a new album that we did, and that's a really a band I really like. I guess if people they don't feel uncomfortable being sort of labeled in the shoegazer kind of label, although I don't know exactly what that means, but they're super heavy and fuzzy, and I really like that band, Tombstones in Their Eyes. I'm working with a band called the Pendejos of Doom. Almost done with that. Working with a band called RX-27 that Paul Kostabi put me together with those guys. Who else am I working on this week?
It's
a lot, man. It's a lot.
That is a lot. I thought you were talking about the next few months, and then you're like, this week.
Is like right now. I'm working with this artist named Fido Xavier. I work with him a lot. He's sort of known in the prog world, which is really interesting because I'm like, I started in the prog world, and then I was just punk for decades, and it's kind of fun to work with the guy that is coming out of that, and he's got a pretty good following in that, and he had heard my prog opera that I wrote when I was 16, The Ark, and someone played that for him, and then he tracked me down. I work with him a lot.
I love that word, prog opera.
Well, someone on Facebook had just asked me because it's available on vinyl, and you can listen to it on SoundCloud, but it's not. I don't never sold it digitally, and someone was asking me for it, so I just got done sending it to him. But yeah, it's like a 47-minute song that I wrote when I was 16 that is complicated.
Sounds like it, man. Are you familiar with another new band called Telomere?
Telomere?
It's T-E-L-O Mirror. Telomere or Telomere?
I don't know. That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, Don Bowles was a friend of both of ours, but he turned me on to them recently, and they're coming on the Church of Rock, and it's a female-fronted band. It's like she's got another band, but I guess her name's J.E., I think, and her band's called Telomere, but it's kind of a new band that's pretty happening, man, and I thought maybe you'd heard of them.
Yeah, I think I've heard Don talking about them, but I haven't actually heard them. But check out Prissy Whip. They're like a really like locally they're playing around, and people are they're blowing some minds. My mind, even though I did their album, I went to the show last night and I was like, Jesus Christ, these guys are so intense. And then a band called the Beatnik Party I just finished, and they put out their record as on an 8-track tape, so they get special honorable mention for that. That's incredible.
I haven't seen anybody put out an 8-track for a while.
Right. It's like, why? But then they also put out a cassette and a CD. But so I've got this 8-track sitting on that pile of records by my front door. So it holds kind of a place of honor because and Orphan Goggles I'm working with.
That's a cool name.
I hate to forget. They're really great. I hate to forget people, because I work on so much stuff, and it's a drag too because I try to recommend all these people, and it's like I got too many people to recommend.
Oh, you're doing a pretty good job though, man. You're remembering quite a few.
People just tune me out. I'm like, you got to hear Tombstones in Their Eyes. You got to see her Orphan Goggles. You got to hear Prissy Whip. And people are like, yeah.
I'll be recording them all. Yeah, no, I appreciate all the new things to listen. I'm taking notes, man, so don't worry.
Well, yeah, it's messed up, and people. Someone said the other, you hear the two things. You hear people say there's no good music nowadays, and of course, what they're talking about, I guess, is radio and top 40. And I mean, I can say at my age, nothing on radio and top 40 is listenable for me, and that's me. And kids, it's probably amazing for them. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But to say there's not great new music is just an insult to myself and all the people that I work with.
Yeah. Well, there's
I heard someone else say that this is the best time for music in history, and that rings more of a bell to me because there's just so much of it, and there's so many people doing it. And a lot of these people that I'm recording, man, if they were together doing this music in the 60s,
yeah,
they would be revered. They would be Captain Beefheart, or they would be the Rolling Stones, whatever. They would be
Amen.
revered. They're incredible. These
Totally,
people.
man. And just because something is not mainstream and not everyone's listening to it doesn't mean it's not golden, you know?
And sometimes what they're doing even is mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that there's just so much of it. So support your local bands and don't look down on them because they're your friends. They're your friends, maybe doing something amazing if you check them out.
And support kids playing in basements, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I should get a special cross section in here. Maybe by the time people track me down and walk in here, they've really done their homework. But the people that come in here blow my mind consistently.
That's great, man. We're going to, after we talk to Paul, Tracy was pointing out that we're going to be playing your song called Shine. What is the deal? Is that from a solo album or is that just one particular song you did?
Yeah, I don't know why I sent you that one, why I picked that one. I should have had you play the newest one that I just wrote, which is called The Only Thing That Matters, which is pretty brave to call a song The Only Thing That Matters. Aren't you curious what the only thing that matters is? Don't you want to know? Well, you should listen to it.
And you can still send that over to us, and we can still play it in the near future. Absolutely. So
cool. I think Shine, I don't know why I think it's I really like that song because it's really, really simple and it kind of sneaks by you. But I feel like there's something profound about it, although I'm not sure what it is that's profound about it. And I really like that.
Yeah, leave some mystery to it, right?
Yeah, there's a mystery to it, and it's cool. It's recorded on a pump organ, so it's got odd instrumentation.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just a song I like.
Very cool.
What's happening?
I would have sent you Galatea, but it's 21 minutes, and I didn't think that you would want to play a 21-minute song.
Well, yeah, that's a fourth of our show.
What's happening in the future with Paul, man? We're running out of time, but I'd like to see what do you got going on in the near future and
other
stuff.
than the next week. that seems to be anybody else's next 6 months.
It's relative.
Well, like I said, I'm playing in a couple of these different bands, so that's. I've got 3 bands I'm playing with, and but it's funny with the studio. It's like a lot of times I look at next month and there's nothing there, nothing. And then by the time the month is over, every day was filled in.
It's like boom, boom.
So a lot of times people are like, "Hey, man, we really want to record with you. When do you have open?" And I'm like, "Next weekend,"
And then it's filled in. Yeah.
And then they're in. But what did I know that this month Kira's getting married. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to going to her wedding. That's super exciting.
Kira ROESSLER is Paul's sister.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's really nice to get a break from in here. I'm very grateful and I really love my work, but I don't get enough. I don't take enough. I don't get away enough. Probably.
You don't get enough you time.
I don't get sunlight even.
Right.
Go to Maui.
Well, Paul, what I really admire about you is, I hear people, not everyone, but I hear people that are in, whatever, their 50s or whatever age they are, and I'm slowing down and I don't really do that, and I think that people that are in their 50s, their 60s, whatever, I think can be the most creative time of your life if you let it be. And I just really, really take inspiration from you. And, the studio that you run, the bands that you produce and record, and the music you put out. I just wanted to say thanks. And I
mean, I really, I got to say that this is sort of, and this is for other people, how to get here is, sure, staying with it and working really hard, but honestly, this place sort of just happened by accident. Like, I didn't make this happen, and I don't make all these people show up. It just is, it feels very lucky sometimes, and then I feel like, and yes, I do feel tired sometimes, but I feel like a commitment that or a what would be the word? I feel like I have to
obligation, maybe.
That was the word.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel obligated. I feel obligated. And it's funny, I can feel really tired, but people walk in the door and I feed off their enthusiasm.
Boom.
And then they, I just am very, very calm, and people come in and it's like, I don't know what's about to happen. But I guess I'm just trying to say that this is not, I didn't feel like I really designed this. I just feel like this happened to me and I feel really lucky. And so I feel like I need to pay back,
Yeah,
Gratitude, man. That's great.
There are no coincidences. So yeah, you're right where you're supposed to be. I really thank you so much for calling in tonight, Paul. We're just about out of time, and definitely.
Well, you guys are, you know what? You guys are really important too, because for people like us, there's all kinds of people like me out there that a lot of times we feel like we're kind of working in obscurity and just doing our work, and the people like you that help get out the word are just precious to us. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks,
we try.
Paul. Well, we're going to do your
Absolutely.
a song called Shine by Paul ROESSLER. You've been listening to a chat with Paul ROESSLER at KSKQ Radio. You're at the Church of Rock. Paul, you have a great night, and let's keep in touch, brother.
Yes, man. I will see you soon, I hope.
Okay, take care, brother.
Thanks,
All right.
Paul.
Talk to you later. Bye, guys.
The great Paul ROESSLER. He's a legend, man, I tell you. I assure you, he is.
He is.
And
just a great guy.
so he sent us a song called Shine, and now he's asking why he should have sent a different one, but I guarantee it's a good one. So let's check it out. It is Paul ROESSLER at KSKQ, and The Roots of Rock is next with Sister Tracy at the Church of Rock.
Try